Generation Exile released in November of 2025 on PC through Steam into early access. It's a city building game where you need to balance progressing through the storyline while keeping your citizens happy. I received a key from the developers for the purpose of this review, but the thoughts and opinions in this video are my own. Retailing for $30 but currently only offering 3 hours of story content with limited replayability, is Generation Exile worth playing? This review is going to answer that question. Let's begin the review by discussing the technical performance of Generation Exile. The game is still in early access, so there's expected to be some bugs and glitches, with patches and updates fixing things as it gets developed further. But in my opinion, Generation Exile is a hard sell for $30. The UI isn't very well laid out, with the game not explaining what a lot of things that are happening on screen do. For example, you can't easily find what kind of buildings you have laid out across the map, making it difficult to select the exact building you need at the time. You have characters that are required to build and upgrade things, but these characters come with personality, stats, and upgrades. But as far as I can tell, it doesn't really do anything. You can completely ignore it. Then there are the bugs. I had game crashes multiple times, storylines didn't progress as they should, and finally, when you reach the end of the content, the game just sort of boots you to the main menu without telling you that you're at the end of available content, leaving me wondering if I had actually completed what was available or if the game crashed. Early access games should be given some leeway. It's a long process and it's technically still in development, but that also sets the tone for the game's future, and Generation Exile is rough. And honestly, it's not that fun at the moment, which leads us into the gameplay and story. Generation Exile takes place in a Generation ship that's leaving Earth because of some disaster involving something called scales, which the game doesn't really explain. You make a character and you need to reclaim sections of the ship that have become polluted. Pollution and the needs of your people are the two main threats. There's nothing external acting against you. When I first saw the game, I thought it was like a Civ game since it's turn-based, but it isn't. You have turns that need to end, but that's only because you have so many actions per turn. This means you do need to prioritize your people's needs, as they will become unhappy if you neglect them and you'll get a game over. Your city is based around a hub, and you need to build housing, water, and electricity around that hub. The further from the hub you go, the more pollution will affect you and the more dangerous buildings and interacting with things in the environment get. This risk will lead to random encounters where your people will be put into danger. You can mitigate risk by assigning more specialists to a project, but you only have so many specialists available each turn, which is what limits your actions. Generation Exile is surprisingly linear. You have a storyline to follow, and everything is locked behind that progression. There are only 2 biomes introduced at the moment, and it's only at the very end of the game that you get to switch between them. Focusing on the gameplay only, Generation Exile can be very frustrating. You're very limited in building space, as sections are locked by pollution that needs to be removed before you can use it. Your people will create waste that must be collected by special buildings, and there's no way of emptying it at the early game, so you need to build more buildings. Water comes from tanks that empty and can't be refilled, or condensers that can only be built on top of mountains. If you do have a lake next to you, there's a way to pump water from it, but the game never explained how that worked, and I think the mechanic for it may be broken. When you want to destroy a building, it turns into rubble. Rubble must be manually removed by using a special building that only stores 5 pieces of rubble. Do you see the problem? Space management is a massive part of this game, which is odd for a city builder. It's almost like each map is more of a puzzle than a real city builder game, as you're trying to find the most optimized way of reaching the story goals before your citizens mutant. All of this takes place in only 3 hours of content, which is wild for an early access game, charging $30. 3 hours with only 2 biomes. If you do want to replay the game, there isn't a sandbox mode or anything like that, you just replay the story again. Sure, there are some random encounters that may change things a bit, I guess, but it's still the same goal, same map, the same puzzle to solve. My recommendation is that you just skip Generation Exile until a lot more content is released, or the price comes down to like $5 or $10. The foundation of this game is good, with some interesting ideas and concepts, but it needs a lot of time to be fleshed out and a lot more content released to be worth the asking price. I'm the Casual Console Gamer, and I'll see you all in the next review.